you see, you're on fire today.
Sitting here in the dark, I realized I didn't turn the lights on.
The Podgram with Tom and Christy.
It's sad that this is the world that we live in.
Here, let me stop and tie my shoe right in front of you so you can't drive.
The Podgram.
All of a sudden, I hear...
Well, I don't really care.
Join the conversation. 855-PODGRAM.
You bust your ass.
Yeah.
The Podgram with Tom and Christy starts now.
It is. Well, I'll give the time this time. It's 9 o'clock. Good morning. Welcome to the Podgram Live. You can catch us on TuneIn. Just search up the Podgram. And we're also right now on YouTube Live. And today is Wednesday. And it is Weight Loss Wednesday. But there's other stuff, that I have that I'd like to maybe chat about a little bit as well. And we'll get into that in just a couple of minutes, though. Right now, if I can find the mouse on my computer screen, that just makes me so mad. It just ruins my day when I have everything timed out perfectly, and it just works out like that. Right now, let's say hi to Christy in New York, where it's probably still snowing.
No, it stopped.
Did it stop?
It stopped.
I was unsure whether you said it stopped or it sucked, because my headphones weren't very high. Yeah.
It stopped. Yeah. Phil had to shovel off Vincent this morning, and he was quite displeased because I stole the garage spot.
It's funny.
So get the other garage stall unburied, Phil, and we won't have to jockey.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
All right. I'm trying very hard to make everything work today. I don't expect that it will, but I'm going to try. Can I still hear you?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I hope so.
Yeah. Video's awfully delayed.
I'm like, I mean, 4:30 this morning, I was trying all I could do. I was like wanting to throw stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the video's very laggy for you, so that's really kind of sucks. I don't know what I did to make that happen, but yeah. I'm just
going to breathe.
Yeah, okay. I saw a meme. Let me go over to it. On the internet today that says...
You did?
Yeah. If Trump starts a new war, the people who voted for him should be drafted first. Let's talk about that for a minute. First of all, nobody really gets drafted anymore. I mean, that's kind of an antiquated thing that you still have to register for selective service if you're a young man and you turn 18. That doesn't absolve your responsibility for registering for the draft. However, there hasn't been a draft since 1970 something anyway. But I wanted to make a comment in the spirit of the meme. If we go to war, it should only be Trump supporters that go to fight the war. Well, let me give you a little piece of information. It kind of already is. Because if you ask any soldier that's out there on any military base, they're very conservative-minded. They understand that in order to have peace, you must first have war. And I can just hear people cringing by that right now. But we discussed this the other day, where countries will take over other countries until they become large enough to take over the superpower countries. You've got to keep little dogs turn into big dogs if you don't do something about it. And people don't really seem to dig that. Okay. So that's that. Let's move on to Weight Loss Wednesday. I hopped on the scale this morning, and I like to blame the weak batteries in the scale for not showing me the result.
That's a new one.
I even went on Amazon and ordered, I need some CR2032 batteries because that scale can't be right. And I haven't replaced. But anyway, so I'm up 2 pounds to 280.5 today. Up. And so it is. It is. The important thing is that I'm not 354 again.
Yeah. Well, what you lost, I found. So.
Well, and you know what's getting me? Let me tell you what's getting me. Nighttime. I am fine all day long having a little something here and a little something there. I'm fine with that. But then, when I sit down on the couch at night, I'm thoroughly convinced the couch is the maker of the fat ass. Right? It's universal. I
can't blame anything. It's not like I can blame my spoon for making me fat.
Oh, it's my spoon. I mean, well, no. Well, I mean, it kind of is because that's what you use for the ice cream. But anyway, so I'm
lactose intolerant, so it's not mine.
Right. I am convinced, however, that it's the nighttime that's tripping me up, because I had stopped boredom eating for a while.
Yeah.
And the weight was just dropping like a rock. I had blamed the lack of groceries in the house for a while, which probably had something to do with some of it. But at the end of the day, it's the nighttime sitting in front of the tube. I guess really it's not even a tube anymore.
Jen says it's snowing where she is.
That's fun. That is so much fun. So, but it's the nighttime that's catching up with me, because I'll sit there and I'm like, oh, and I'll go in there like last night. Let me tell you what happened last night. I hang my head low in shame.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I do. I had a Pop-Tart.
Oh, no.
I had a Pop-Tart and a big thing of chocolate milk. I was looking for the chocolate protein shake, which apparently the children ate in powder form until it was gone. Yeah. So,
okay.
Oh, chocolate milk sounds good right now. Doesn't it? I mean, it does though, doesn't it?
Oh, that's Christy, not Jen. I'm sorry. She said I'm not Jen.
I'm not Jen. Damn it.
I apologize. Not that there's anything wrong with Jen, but or being Jen, but it's Chrissy. So yes. Hi, Chrissy fan.
Chrissy fan. And by the way, I'm on the live window over there on YouTube. I don't know if I have to actually let it play in order to see the comments, though. So I'll let it play for a second and see what happens.
I'm just kind of monitoring.
Yeah. See, when I let it play, it just chews up what we're doing over here, and so
she said it's all good. So yeah, I'm not.
Is she on the live? Ask her if she's on the live chat on YouTube.
Are you on live chat
on YouTube? That's okay. We'll just wait. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So that's what's tripping me up is the late night.
She's not finding the chat on YouTube.
It's the video's there. You should go to our channel and it'll say live, and you can click on it, and there's a top chat over there on the. I don't know. She's found it before, so she knows how. So I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
She's smart.
Or we won't. Either way, it is what it is, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Weight Loss Wednesday, you have. I want to.
I do.
I want to go over how you entered the studio this morning, clipping on hoop earrings in a bad attitude kind of a way, saying you may have to hold my earrings today. You may have to hold my earrings because somebody's ass might get kicked today.
I said, I want to talk about gastric bypass today.
Yeah.
Because I am so mad.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
I think, as I've always said, I think that it's used irresponsibly. And I was very careful about how I approached that topic with you the other day.
You did, because when I talked to you about it in a different capacity the other day, you said you've always been very ginger about it with me because you know that I have had it, and you didn't want to talk about it disrespectfully because you weren't sure, how it was with me.
Well, it's like when you talk about somebody of another race. If you're with somebody of another race, you're a little more, maybe I shouldn't talk about that. Maybe that. Yeah. Even, and not that I would go around, starting conversations about race, but if it happens to come up in a conversation somewhere, it's like, maybe I just better not have any commentary on that because,
because you don't know what kind of experience they had or if they had a reason for doing it or.
And for God's sake, I mean, let's look at the N word. And I'm going to tell you now, the only reason I didn't say the whole word is because we're on the thing.
Yes.
Because my feeling is if you can say it, I can say it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and we're discussing Nike sneakers. That's what it is.
That's exactly what it is. So, no. I mean, I feel like, listen, I refer to myself as being fat.
Yes.
Right? I've had friends of mine who then, after I had done that, felt like they could refer to me as fat as well, which they can. Like, for instance, if I say, well, let me put my fat ass over here and do this. And if they reference my fat ass at some point in the future. Now, that's not to say that every time they address me, that's how I want to be addressed from that point forward. Because then I start getting, offended by it. If that's, if everything becomes about my fat ass, then it's like, okay, look, man, that's really over there. And I had a friend that did that. But he was, in In retrospect and looking back on it, he was an idiot, so it didn't matter. You know.
Yeah. There's that.
Okay, so gastric bypass surgery. Yeah, I think a lot of people use that as a scapegoat, or what they think is an easy way out of the hard work. Because here's basically, let me summarize, and then you can tell me whether I'm right or not.
Okay.
Because I don't want to be spewing misinformation. But basically, a gastric bypass is a surgical way to force you to eat responsibly, or to have the self-restraint.
To have more willpower.
To have more willpower. And so, well, I mean, it takes the willpower away. At that point, you can't. Yeah. Somebody else has made is your willpower. It's just a quick. It's a surgical way to force you to eat smaller portions.
Absolutely.
Something you could do entirely on your own without it. You could.
Absolutely.
If you could do it on your own if you have some restraint. If you have the ability to, but we talked the other day also about how food for a lot of people is like a drug. It's an addiction.
There are people who have compulsive eating issues.
Well, I mean, even just regular people.
That are psychological.
I mean, just regular people who have used food all their lives as a coping mechanism. Let's celebrate. Let's have cheesecake. Oh, I'm depressed. Let's have chocolate ice cream. People use, just like cigarettes or any other drug. It's a tool to prop them up to deal with society, and it's an addiction.
And a lot of people who become morbidly obese, and let's face it, doctors and the medical field classify anyone, like Tom, you are considered morbidly obese.
Absolutely.
So am I.
More than 100 overweight. Yep.
Because anyone who is more than 100 pounds overweight is considered morbidly obese.
But you talk to some people and they think obese is a slang rip term. Oh, that's derogatory. No, it's a medical thing, and it means you're 100 pounds plus overweight. And I qualify. I'm obese. Sure.
Anyone who becomes morbidly obese, people who have this condition, a lot of times it spawns from, people who become super morbidly obese, like the TLC show, My 600-Pound Life, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
Usually spawns from some sort of trauma in their early life or at some point in life that causes them to use food as a way to relieve stress or to make themselves feel better. Like kids, it can start early in childhood because they use it as a coping mechanism, because children, they can't buy alcohol. They can't smoke. They have a harder time getting a hold of drugs unless their parents have them.
Yeah.
But what's the one easy, most able to be found or foraged for? It's food.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, why is it morbidly obese? We've got a caller. Hang on just a second, caller. Why is it morbidly? Because if you are obese, it raises your chances for heart disease, heart attack. It raises your chances for all kinds of other health things. Good morning. You're on the Podgram. Is this Chrissy Finn?
It is.
Yeah. Listen to that smoky, sexy voice. Oh, so glad you called. How are you today?
I'm going to take your job over with the voiceovers. You keep pumping me up
hey,
like
I'm
that.
telling you now, there's a market for that. I'm telling you right now.
Well, get me hooked up, man.
Well, how much money you got?
None. Anyway, I wanted to get in on this conversation.
I see, yeah.
Because I, of course, have had the gastric bypass as well.
Yes.
Mine saved my life.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because they told me I was really out of control, huge, and they told me that I would die before I hit 40. My mother died at 29.
Wow.
So that scared the crap right out of me.
Well, death is a great motivator.
That scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, death is a great motivator.
It sure is. And I had just had Mackenzie. She was little. So I said, well, I don't want her to grow up like I did.
Right.
I was in the foster system, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And, so it saved my life. Yes, I've put some weight back on because I also have those psychological food issues. Not going to deny it at all.
Right.
And I happen to really just like food.
Well, see, and that's the other thing. That's like people who smoke cigarettes. I smoked for 25 years. ended up with a 2-pack-a-day habit. And but the thing was, I enjoyed my cigarettes. I enjoy every smoker you talk to. They will tell you, I like to smoke. It's there for me in times of need. It's my buddy when I'm celebrating, just like the cheesecake when you celebrate. The cigarettes are too. And by no means am I implying to anybody that I think that everyone who has a gastric bypass took the easy way out, because that is not at all what I'm saying.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely
no. It's not easy at all.
Now the
I
problem,
know people who died due to complications from that.
a lot of, and it's got a high mortality rate. It's dangerous. But here's the other thing: is that with eating, unlike cigarettes or heroin or any other drug that you want to get off of, well, with that or alcoholism, you just put it aside and you know you can never have it again. But the problem with losing weight and changing the way you think about what you eat is you have to eat again. You know, if you quit smoking for 6 months and all of a sudden somebody passes you a cigarette, well, a friend of mine got an acting job and he had to smoke. Part of the role was that he was a smoker. And they gave him these clove cigarettes and said, these won't addict you or anything. These are not, it's just for, whatever. He had stopped smoking, I think, for several years, actually. And then he had to suck on one cigarette in the role in this movie, and he did. And all of a sudden, all at once, he was a pack-a-day smoker all over again.
Yep.
But with food, you have to eat in order to sustain yourself. You can't just say, well, I'm going to put that down, like Sam Malone on Cheers. Kept the bottle cap in his pocket. He never drank again, kept the bottle cap in his pocket to remind him where he'd been. You can't do that with food because you have to have it to live. So it's even harder, 100 times harder to lose weight than it is to quit a drug addiction, because it is an addiction that you can't put away, that you cannot survive without having it.
And in a country that everything is supersized, everything is bigger, portion size are huge.
America is designed to engineer fat people. America is engineered to fabricate fat people. Everybody feels like they got to get their money's worth. I got to get my money's worth. I'm going to pay $10 to go eat. I'm going to eat the whole damn thing, the whole place. I'm going to take my chair up to the buffet and just scrape.
Would you like to supersize that for an extra 30 cents?
When you go, and when you go into a restaurant, when you go into a store, when you go into a convenience store, there's nothing healthy in there. It's potato chips and Bugles. Love some Bugles. No, I'm not going to lie to you. But the thing is, and this is where your restraint has to come in. And if you have a food addiction, you don't have any restraint. That's the problem.
Okay, here's a double whammy for you.
Get me, girl.
I smoked about a pack of cigarettes a day for 30 years.
Yeah.
At least a pack. We'll put it that way. At least a pack a day.
Okay.
Now I'm coming up to after my gastric bypass. I still smoked. Now I get to the point where I've had my second daughter and I want to quit. Mm-hmm. So what happens when you quit?
Well, you eat, you snack, you eat, you gain weight.
Yes, sir.
That is what happens.
That is when I started gaining it back.
Yes.
That is the precise moment I started gaining it back.
Yes. The only reason I did not gain weight when I stopped smoking was because I started using the e-cigarette. I traded one addiction.
Yeah, that wasn't an option back then. I quit 10 years ago.
Oh, I know. I remember I quit one time on the patch, and I was successful for 9 months until I did what? I picked one up. And that was the end of it. Mm-hmm. Right there. Instantly, pack-a-day smoker. And I
had an incident, too. I got to tell you about that.
Okay. But that's the e-cigarette. People say, well, you just traded one addiction for another. I did trade one addiction for another. But I'm now without all the harmful chemicals that are in the cigarettes. Not to mention, what's the first thing you do with a cigarette before you start smoking it? What's the very first thing you do to it? You light the bitch on fire. As a fellow firefighter, you and I both know that fire is not something. Smoke from a fire is not something you want to breathe. That's why we use a thing called SCBA, the self-contained breathing apparatus. That's why I had a friend of mine when I was a kid. I was smoking about 16 years old. He says, "Listen, if you want to smoke, why don't you just be a fireman?" And it's like, well, honestly,
they do call us smoke eaters.
Well, that's right. That's right. And our department was the Dragon Slayers. But the thing is, though.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I know. We had painted all over our trucks and stuff. It was really cool. And then
We're just the Remsen Volunteer Fire Department. That's it.
Oh, yeah. Well, but the thing is that when you light something on fire and you breathe the smoke, you're breathing in carbon monoxide. And then whatever, just like when you think about, and then a lot of stuff is everything is pretty much toxic when you burn it.
There's a lot the formaldehyde in cigarettes?
There are 4,000 harmful, cancer-causing chemicals in cigarets.
Absolutely.
Yep, I believe that.
And they also, now here's the other thing that the tobacco companies do, and people don't even realize this. Nicotine isn't the bad guy here. Nicotine in the cigarettes, that's not the bad, because they put nicotine, tomatoes have nicotine. Maybe not as much as cigarettes, but also now some of the toothpaste companies are putting nicotine into their toothpaste because they're creating.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because you absorb it. Now, I don't know if you guys are doing the rescue thing up there in Remsen, but if you go to medical responder or EMT class, they teach you that the mucous membrane, which is like the inside of your mouth or any of the soft, wet tissues of your body, the mucous membrane absorbs chemicals faster than your dermis. So when you brush your teeth with a product that has nicotine in it, you're instantly getting that nicotine into your bloodstream. And then you build an addiction for it, and they're calling it brand loyalty is what they're calling it, because it's not enough to hurt you. It's okay. Yeah. It's not going to hurt you. But the point is, now
that's enough to hook you. Yeah.
Now the cigarette companies one-upped it because they found out that when you burn sugar, it's 10 times more addictive than heroin. So now when they in the tobacco curing process, they're using sugar so that when you smoke the cigarette, you're addicted to the cigarette. You could take the sugar out of it. You could smoke a brand like, I don't know, Winston used to claim they had no additives, which means there was no sugar.
Yeah.
I tried to stop smoking Camel filters, right? I like Camel Wides. They were cool for me. I like that. You could take and get off of that and get onto the Winston cigarette, which had no additives like that in it. And somehow you started chain smoking because you weren't getting what you wanted out of it, what your body craved out of it. And so I saw a complete change in my smoking habit when I went away from a product that had sugar in it to one that didn't, because I was addicted not to the nicotine, not to the arsenic, not to the formaldehyde, but it was the sugar content. And I instantly I went from a pack-a-day smoker on the Camel Wides over to the Winstons, where I probably smoked 3 packs a day, and I chained them all day long. And I still, So people say, but this is the truth. It's the truth. Once a company finds a way to hook you with something, they're going to do it because it's money. It's really money. And then if you ever try to quit smoking altogether, now you've got not only the nicotine but also the sugar and the habit. Smoking is a multifaceted habit. It's the
habit. It's the hardest thing for me to break.
It's the habit. It's having something in your hands. It's wrapping your brain. And the other thing is, and you tell me about this. I enjoyed smoking. What about you? It's hard.
I loved smoking.
It's hard to give something up. Never mind that you're addicted. Never mind that it's an addiction. It's hard to give something up when you like doing it.
And it's the socialization of the people that you stood around and you smoked with.
Well, when I started smoking, everybody who was anybody smoked. If you didn't smoke, you were nobody. And then later on. And so now that's kind of flip-flopped to where if you smoke, you're a second-class citizen. Even if you vape, you're a second-class citizen.
Now.
Yeah. Right. So that was kind of my point on all of it. See, I'm doing my hand thing. My mom's coming out at me. I'm flipping my hands around and pointing at everything.
This is why I'm glad there's not a camera on me.
I'm animated this morning. Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you about this story.
Okay.
Because I think it's going to be a point of conversation, and I want to know what Chrissy thinks, and I'm excited about it.
Well, let me press the pause button on you for just a second. Chrissy, did you have something you wanted to share with us, or are you just going to hang out with us?
Yes.
I'm just going to hang out.
Okay, all right. Okay, good enough.
Well, before she goes too far, she had a comment about Chantix.
Oh, yes.
Did you do Chantix?
I did. And
because I know where she's going with that.
Because earlier you had indicated that you had something you wanted to add, and that's why I stopped down and asked you to make sure.
Oh, it was a situation I had where I was working somewhere with a smoker.
Yeah.
And we were both outside. I wasn't smoking, but I would go out there so that we could chitty-chat, and there was nobody in the store, whatever.
Right.
And the phone rang. It was for her, so she hands me her cigarette and says, I'll be right back.
Okay.
So I'm holding this cigarette like I used to smoke, between my 2 fingers and whatnot.
Yep.
And what did I do? Took a big old drag.
Yep.
Not even thinking. Mm-hmm. It was totally automatic.
Yes.
I spewed that stuff out. I didn't even inhale, thank God.
Yeah.
But it tasted so bad.
I never did inhale.
That was the last time I actually craved a cigarette.
Yeah.
because I craved, right? I still wanted to smoke, even with the Chantix.
Yeah.
I still wanted to smoke, but when you were on the Chantix, it made you ill. Like you would throw up because the cigarette tasted so bad. I don't know what it did to the chemicals in your body.
Yeah.
But man, they wanted your body to kick that stuff right the hell out the door.
Yeah,
I did. It was easy.
The side effects for Chantix are just kind of scary if you actually read them or listen to them, because this is like suicide, depression, and all this other bit. Now, I've got to say that a few weeks back, a month or so ago, Melanie was out on the back porch having a choke, and she's mad when I call them chokes. But anyway, so she was on the back porch having a choke, and I walked up. Her and her mom were outside, and I walked out there, and they were having their little deal. And I thought, you know what? It has been so long since because we listen. Let me tell you what kind of smokers we were. We built a screened-in, covered back porch out off the back door, so we had somewhere to go smoke. That was the primary function of having that deck, that 15 by 25 deck out there, screened in, roof over it, so that so we had somewhere to. It wasn't to enjoy the birds or any of that.
Yeah,
business.
we would have done that.
It was to go smoke, and that was the primary fun. So I was out there, and I don't go out there very often now that I vape. And I do it everywhere in the house. I don't have to go outside to do it anymore. But so I was out there, and I pulled up a chair, and they were smoking. So I picked up Melanie's cigarette. She just lit it, and it was in the ashtray. And I picked it up, and I took a drag off of it. Oh, my God. Now, see, for me, it's been 6 or 7 years now since I was a smoker because of the e-cigarette thing, right? And that's another thing we should do part of a show on, at least on that, because people think they can just walk into the store and buy whatever the guy wants to sell them, and now they're magically a non-smoker. It doesn't work like that. But if you're interested, I can certainly show you how to do that. But anyway, all that aside, I picked it up, I took a drag, and I almost reversed gears right there at the table. And I came inside, and I brushed my teeth 3 times. I even got the Sonic brush out, and then I used the mouthwash, and then I was gum and all this thing. I tasted that cigarette for the rest of the day, and it was just the most. And what was interesting, though, is when I took that drag, it took me right back to the age of 16, the first time I ever smoked a cigarette. It took me right. I instantly, I remembered exactly where I was. I was walking home from school with my buddies. We were in a church. There was a church that we used to cross through, and so I'm coughing just thinking about it. We were walking through the church, and it was a pack of Saratoga 120s that we bought because the pack looked cool. It looked like it was made out of leather, and it was textured. And these were these were like the 120s, the really long, hey, light me up over there type cigarettes. They were really.
We call them javelins around here.
Yeah. And so it was that. And we were right next to, we're walking right towards the playground in this church grounds. And it was the first time I smoked one. And when I took that drag off of that cigarette, it took me back 30 plus years to that day and that moment where I could tell you in living color everything that was going on around me at that very moment in time. And it's like, but the thing was, now this is what was interesting. I didn't remember my first drag off of a cigarette kicking my ass that hard. I just didn't remember it being like that. And with that in mind, I sat down and I thought, well, if it was that, if that's how it was on that day, why the hell did I smoke the second one? Because I didn't like it. It's like beer. Nobody likes the first sip of beer they ever have. You just keep drinking it till you like. It's like diet soda. You just keep drinking it until you forget how nasty it is. It doesn't get any better. It just gets, you just forget how nasty it is. And so the same thing.
You convince your brain.
Yeah, same thing with cigarettes. And it's like, wow, they're really awful. And then the other side of it is that after having been a smoker for years and years and years, hell, it probably was, like 20 plus years, 25 years, you don't realize how bad you smell when you're done doing it. Melanie,
that's my thing right now.
Yes, Melanie used to climb. She used to climb me because, first of all, the first thing I do in the morning is what? Go outside and smoke, right? And so I would come back in for coffee, whatever, and she would say, listen, when you're done smoking, can you maybe stay outside for 20, 30 minutes until that smell goes away? Right? And now she smokes, and she'll come back in the house while there's still smoke coming out of her hair. She would say to me once upon a time.
I'm sorry, the visual fuel to that.
I know that's, and it was intended that way. But really, the smoke is still permeating. She used to jump all. How can you smoke so early? See, when I met her, she would have maybe one or two at night, or if she were the type to go to a bar, maybe she would have a social one or two kind of thing, right? And then she used to say to me, I don't understand for the life of me how you can get up and go outside so early and start smoking. I don't get it. It would destroy me. Well, now, so she takes the kids to school in her newly fixed van. She takes the kids to school, comes home, puts coffee on, and straight to the deck.
Because she has 4 kids. That's why she can smoke.
You need, Lama, tell you, you need something a little more kick than cigarettes for that. I'm just telling you that right now.
Just saying, she has 4 kids.
Right.
That's why.
Right. So that was kind of all right. So I kind of got off on a tangent there. This has nothing to do with gastric bypass surgery or any of that business. But go.
So play the tune thing, and then we'll get to the business.
We'll play the tune thing, and look, it's already after half past the show, so we get to use the other one now.
The Podgram with Tom and Christy.
They're still at it.
I'm walking, 2 people talk about nothing.
Join the conversation. 855-PODGRAM.
29 in front of the top of the hour right here at the Podgram. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We're having a good time. Actually, we're not really talking about nothing today. I'm on a rant. I mean, I'm just gonna call it for what it is. But joining us today is Christy over there in New York City, and also Chrissy in the greater Remsen area of New York. So welcome to all of you guys, and thanks so much. My harem hath grown. I'm surrounded by estrogen, but it's the good kind.
Well, don't say that too quick.
Nobody's beaten me yet, so
it's handpicked.
Just because I can't reach you.
Yeah. Might like it. You never know. Anyway, so I digress. Let's go.
So, meanwhile, back at the ranch.
So you got your hoopster earrings on, you got your hair pulled back, and your fist balled up. You're ready to go. So go ahead. I've held you back for half an hour. Go ahead.
I was looking for stories to incorporate into our Weight Loss Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I, just for shiggles, Googled weight loss news.
Yeah.
And what do I come up with?
Probably some weight loss news.
Shanine Murray.
Okay.
And this name probably means absolutely nothing to you,
yeah.
But me being a reality TV junkie, I went, oh, snap.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
I watched an episode of My 600-Pound Life.
Yeah.
And she was featured on the show. And she was featured on season 6, episode number 25, which aired on April 4th. And the official synopsis of the show is, devastated by 2 miscarriages due to her weight, Shanine is desperate to start a family and stop relying on her husband, Freddie, to take care of her.
Yeah.
She hopes weight loss surgery will be able to fix her fertility issues as well as her marriage.
Yeah.
Well, she needs more fixing than that.
Yeah.
Because on the show, Dr. Nalzardan, who is a leader in the field of gastric bypass surgery, he is probably, I would say, in the top 5 in developing and doing procedurally. He is the best of the best.
Yeah.
And in doing the super morbidly obese, he's probably in the top 2.
Yeah. Now, Christy, do you watch the show as well?
I have. I'm not a regular watcher, but I've seen it.
I see. Okay.
It's he's incredible. I mean, he can be a hard ass. I mean, he is hard on these people.
He is. I've seen it.
But then again,
you will lose, or I will not do. You will go home.
No, I mean, he can be very difficult. I mean, but some of these patients come there because they have issues.
And he's rough, and he just tells it like it is.
He tells them exactly like it is. I mean, he tells them, you need to do this, you need to do that, this is what you need to do. This is the procedure that you need. You have to go on a 1,200 calorie diet that is high protein, no carbs, no sugar.
That's right.
So he gave her 30 days to lose the weight, to lose 30 pounds. And he said that within the amount of time that he gave her, that she should be more than able to do this.
Yeah.
And, well, she didn't.
Right.
She actually wound up having to be admitted to the hospital when she first got there because she was in such distress that she almost died just getting there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And in the process, because they put her on a reduced calorie restricted diet, she lost nearly 100 pounds in the time that she was in the hospital.
Wow.
They let her go home.
Yeah.
She gained it right back.
Yeah.
Yep.
They put her back in the hospital. She lost a little bit more. They sent her home. She gained it right back.
Mm-hmm.
In 4 months' time, she gained 47 pounds.
Wow.
So by the end of it, it was excuse after excuse after excuse. She would not get up and exercise. She would not do this. She wouldn't do that. She wouldn't do this. She refused to go to psychotherapy. Refused.
Well, yeah.
Now, she needed psychotherapy.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
She had some sexual abuse in her past and refused to deal with it. So how did she deal with being a single mom and having a couple of kids? How did she make a little extra money? The porn industry.
What?
Oh, you would be amazed at the men who love huge women like that.
Oh, I
Amazed.
don't like. I like women of substance.
Online, she became what
Yeah.
they call a feeder.
Okay, you're gonna have
Men-
to break that down for me.
Men would pay her to eat on
To watch
camera,
her eat. Yep.
to watch her eat.
You know, let me sidestep for
And
a second.
then, and then she became a squasher.
I can only imagine.
God.
And I will not go into
I
detail
can
with
only
that.
imagine.
It is not appropriate. It is so not appropriate. So if you'd like to Google that on your own time, I would do that, but it is not workplace appropriate. I will tell you now.
I was looking for
So-
something on. Let me sidestep for a second here. I was looking for something on YouTube. I was trying to figure out how to do something to my car, and I came across the term mukbang. Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay. This is where people, usually it's younger girls, will bring home like a Burger King meal or a Subway meal or some kind of food, and they will just eat it on the camera. Just have lunch like you're having lunch with your friend. They will eat it right there, and then that's their video. It's all over. It's all over. It's all over YouTube. It's mukbang. They're not doing anything gross. They're not doing it. They're just like it's literally. It's just like you went to lunch with this person, and I don't really. And I look because I'm curious. I'm like, wow, okay. And you see these people have thousands of subscribers. Why do people sign up to watch that?
I don't know, but
And they're not fat.
So-
they're not obese. They're not fat people. It's not a fetishy thing. I don't think. I mean, it could be, I guess. I don't think it is, but it's not like they're, stuffing themselves or gorging or anything like that. I understand there's probably a fetish for that. But these people are just having something to eat. The other thing that I saw on YouTube that I happened across, apparently now there's the new challenge after the Tide Pods. And this one is the Banana and Sprite Challenge. And again, these are teenage girls that you see doing this, and they'll get together with their friends. And basically, my understanding at this point is that if you eat a banana and have some Sprite with it, it's an automatic vomit. I don't know why. I don't know why, but YouTube is, you can watch it. You can do the what is it, Banana and Sprite Challenge, and these people eat a banana, have some Sprite out of a bottle, and just reverse gears and puke everywhere. And that's why. And then you look.
I don't know.
Then you look at, and they have thousands of subscribers. Why?
So
Anyway,
back to this chick.
Back to the stuff we're supposed to be talking about. Sure.
What's upsetting me, and this in itself, while I was watching the episode, she was making me so mad I was wanting to throw stuff at the TV. I mean, I finally kind of understood how Phil feels during football. I mean, I was screaming like, first down, penalty. I mean, I was like, that's just crap.
Pass the ball. Go.
No, what are you think? Put that chicken down. I mean,
what'd that chicken ever do to you?
It was just, she was just lying. And it was ridiculous that what really upset me, one, it was that it was the gross waste of time.
Yes.
It was that she was wasting his time and his efforts that could have been better spent on someone else who was more deserving.
Yeah.
Because there are lots of other people who are way more deserving.
You know, a friend of mine has suggested to me on more than one occasion that maybe I should have a gastric bypass. And I say to him, this is my answer to that. I don't feel like that I have lost control of myself enough. No. I still believe in the idea that I can do something about it without having to surgically alter myself. And at that point, and this goes back probably before we started doing the Podgram to begin with, not just this part of it, but before the very beginning, when it was just before it was even an idea of something to do. And at that point in my life, I had a belief that the only people that had gastric bypass surgery were weak and had no self-control. And I've met you. And I've met you, Chrissy, and audibly, I've met you.
Right.
And you shared some mukbang pictures with me, so that's nice. Anyway,
daily.
So, the cheesecake thing.
Oh, her, yeah.
Yeah. And so I've come to realize
some bugles for you.
You did the mukbang bugle thing for me, and you videoed it. We were videoing.
I like bugles.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I had bugles yesterday.
Have you had the caramel covered ones?
No, I've had chocolate ones though.
I haven't had the chocolate ones. I had the caramel covered one. I liked them. Now they're completely a different flavor. It's just like they're shaped the same, but they're not the same. I mean, but now when I look at people that I know who have been through the experience, it's not always somebody looking for the easy out. It's not always somebody who has no control over their own self. And I've also come to realize that it's extremely difficult to have any kind of control when it's an addiction. And I have an addiction, and that's why that I'm overweight. I mean, ever since I was a kid, I was always the fat kid. Now, having said that, right now, today, I weigh 2 pounds less than I did in 7th grade today.
This stupid bleep insert rant of more of moronic.
Sure.
I'm about to rip off an earring.
Put it back on.
So the reason that People is doing a story on her is because she has started a crowdfunding GoFundMe account.
Yeah.
Because according to this, to raise money to privately fund her gastric bypass surgery with another surgeon.
Because Dr. Anoop won't do it now because she's not playing by the rules?
Because he won't do it.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Nelsarden won't do it because she won't get with the program.
Because she's not. And that's the other thing, that I've always felt like people were able to get these gastric bypass surgeries without the proper counseling ahead of time to let them know. Because a lot of these people don't realize that it's a life change. It's more than just, okay, I can't eat as much. There's so much more to it. There's so many more sides to it and layers in it that people don't realize before they go and make this change to their bodies. I think that you need to be counseled properly to know what to expect. That it's not just a physical change. There's an emotional and a mental change as well. And when you're used to being able to go over to the pantry and grab a bag of wavy Lays and finish them off in one sitting, and now all of a sudden you can't eat but 3 of them, and people emotionally rely on food, and that's going to be gone because you're not going to be able to do that anymore. And I think that
now I got to get this out. I got to get this out. So I'm gonna stop you.
Okay.
Because I got to get this out, or something's going to blow up.
I see your face turning red. Go ahead.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
she says, like the synopsis of the show says, because she wants to fix her fertility issues and she wants to have a baby. She's already got 5 of them.
What?
That's the look my
She
mother.
already has 5.
That's the look my mother used to give me. Exactly the look my mother used to give me when she came bursting into the room asking me what the hell I thought I was doing.
But she wants to have one with her current husband.
That's disgusting.
Got to get my check. Got to get my check.
Yeah, how old is the youngest? 5?
Like
Because
10.
right about the time that they go back to school is when the mother decides they have to have another one because otherwise they got to go to work.
They got to go to work, yeah.
Is 10. The oldest is like 18 or 19 and has been
Oh my
taking
God.
care of her.
Of course.
Yeah, see, now
Okay, so, but no, they're doing, okay.
So I could really screw you up by doing this.
The Podgram with Tom and Christy.
They're still at it.
I'm walking two people talk about nothing.
Join the conversation. 855-PODGRAM.
Quarter till the end of the broadcast right here on the Podgram. Thanks so much for hanging out with us both on TuneIn and over on the YouTube Live channel. We do this every Monday through Friday from 9 to 10. And then you can always listen to all of the older shows on TuneIn 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Joined today by not only the wonderful, beautiful, and illustrious Christy, but also Chrissy Finn is joining us on the phone. Hey, baby.
Hey, baby.
I'm going to score.
Oh, I don't know what you're going to score, but
I love my girls. That's all I'm saying. I just love my girls. That's all. Anyway, go ahead, Christy. Because now, hold on, I'm going to hold you up a little bit more. Because now her face is so hot from waiting to get this out that her makeup is starting to run down her face. So go ahead.
she's going to take a jog and end up at your front door.
She's melting. Yeah, I know, right?
Melting.
Melting. Go ahead.
So she says after multiple...
Hello?
She is now claiming that the show falsely edited her story to humiliate her purely for the rating.
Probably did.
And that she started a GoFundMe page to raise money for weight loss surgery on her own.
Yeah.
She's asking for donations so that she can seek help so that she can spread her true story. She has, after 7 days, she has raised, according to the story at the time of print, $75 of the $50,000 she's requested.
Yeah.
And as of today, she's
50,000?
raised. Yeah.
You know what you...
Because she has to move to probably wherever the surgeon is. But believe it or not, she's raised $205 as of today. But it's what she says on her GoFundMe page that just,
Do you know what I can do with $50,000?
Well, read it.
You know what I can do?
It's tablet, so I'm having to, tap.
Do you have any idea what I could do with $50K? I could buy me a boat. I could buy me a truck to pull it.
Buy me a Yeti 110 and some ice cold
Silver bullets. Yeah.
Yep. I love that. I love that song just because of that. It's hilarious.
It is. It's great. The other one I like is Brad Paisley's I'm Going to Miss Her.
Aww.
Where he talks about going fishing and she's going to leave if he goes again. He's like, oh, looky there. Another bite.
I like Drunk on a Plane, too,
Yeah.
where he goes on his honeymoon without her.
There is a song, since we're talking music all of a sudden, but at some point I want to play.
Okay, no, I got it. I got it.
All right, hold on.
So she says,
Okay.
She says, I'm raising money for a great cause. I was dragged to Houston, Texas to get humiliated on national TV. And I have been struggling ever since for everything. I have hopes and dreams and one is to get better. I don't have only weight problems. I have other health problems that's just been overlooked. I am Team Shani with a great husband. God bless us this far. And there's 2 updates. I would like this opportunity for my true story to be told so that the misconceptions can be addressed. There were several inaccuracies that were shown that put me and my husband in a bad light. There was only a passing acknowledgement of my health issues, my relationship with my family, and my emotional issues. I'm asking for donations so that I can seek help, and I need to spread my true story. This can only be done with your help contributing for our Fight for Shanine campaign. Remember that in the eyes of our Lord, there is no perfect human, and only with your generous help can I reach my goal of a healthy lifestyle. And someday my children and my husband, Team Shanine needs you. No, you need to put down that damn cheesecake.
Put down the cheesecake. Well, and that's the thing. Is I think that before anybody should be allowed to do a gastric bypass, even Dr. Quack down the road, who will do it for you for $1.99. I think before anybody's allowed to do that, they should go through like some extensive, unless it's an emergency situation where if it's not changed now, you're going to die. By the way, Cassidy Burkeen is in the live chat over there on
Yes, she
on YouTube.
is my daughter's girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Well, thank
Welcome,
you.
Hi, Cassidy.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. But I think that with the correct mental health assistance, one might be able to be retrained a little bit. Maybe there's a way to non-invasively change your course in life without having to do that. And I think
you have to go through a mental health evaluation. I had to go through a psych evaluation before I was eligible for my surgery. They want to make sure that you're not doing it for the wrong reasons, that you're not doing it because you've given up on, that you have tried all of the other options.
Right. Well, with you, that happened. But there's so many.
You're not just saying all the right things for the wrong reasons.
There's so many people out there, though, that because the surgeon makes money on this, because it's a money thing, because there's money involved. There's so many people who could care less about the patient as long as they get their money out of the deal. See,
but the insurance companies require it.
Well, see, that's probably a good thing. But look, there's people out there that don't have insurance who are probably willing to pay out of pocket for it. And when they know they're going to get paid either way, they don't have to go through all the red tape that way.
But I can't imagine paying for that out of pocket because it is so horrendously expensive.
It is.
Mine and we're talking, let's see, ours was 14 years ago now, Chrissy?
Yep. No.
14 years ago.
Hang on. She was 18. She turned 18. Yeah.
14 years ago.
14 years ago. Holy crap.
Holy crap. Oh, my God. It's been a 14 years. Look at that. Got my big coffee.
It was
I'm ready.
$34,000.
Yeah.
Wow. See, for $34,000,
I have the bills.
For $34,000, I better get heated seats, air conditioning, 4-wheel drive. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, that was the hospital
talk about
stay,
having to see
everything.
Go ahead, Chrissy Finn.
Talk about having to see a psychologist and stuff, which we totally did.
Yeah.
We also had to see a nutritionalist.
Mm-hmm.
And have several appointments with the doctor himself before you had surgery.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be.
One and done.
That's the way it should
be.
be.
It wasn't just a one and done.
But now I've known people that it's been a one and done for them. And incidentally, one of them was my ex, who has since died. Maybe from complications from that, maybe not. I mean, she overdosed on some prescription meds, but she was kind of a hypochondriac anyway. She's the only woman I know that ever took Viagra because her doctor was willing to give it to her. Then I should probably pre-qualify that. I should probably go back and say, well, back in the old days of pharmaceutical commercials on TV, which I think they shouldn't even be allowed to advertise that stuff. It's not.
Agreed.
Because what happens is people walk in the doctor's office self-diagnosing. Oh, I need this med, or I need that, or I need the other thing because I have this. I have irritable bowel syndrome, or I have uncontrolled laughing syndrome, and I need this and that. And I'm depressed, and they do. They go into the doctor.
This is why doctors despise WebMD.
Right, just like mechanics can't stand the Google mechanics coming in. Well, I went to AutoZone and they read my codes for me and they diagnosed it, so you can't charge me a diagnostic fee because I know what's wrong with my car. It's like it happens in many different professions. But the problem is that these people go in and say, and then of course they say, ask your doctor if X drug is right for you, and they go in. Well, it used to be that they couldn't tell you what the drug did. They could only show you like video, and it was always people, frolicking on their bicycles and this kind of crap, but they could never tell you what it did, only what the side effects were. And then they would say, ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you.
Bathtubs, holding hands.
Yeah. It was years before I even had any clue what Viagra did. I always saw the spots on TV. I had no idea what it was for. Never thought to ask. Didn't want to ask. Didn't care. So she did. She went and she asked the doctor, hey, is Viagra right for me? And he just with his, it's like, yeah, it probably is. And so he wrote her a script for it. And she was taking the stuff. And I said, dude, you know what this is for. Why are you writing this? Well, it's not going to hurt her. But that's not the point.
Viagra was actually written and intended to stabilize blood pressure. Its original clinical form, was a blood pressure stabilizer.
There's a lot of that kind of stuff out there.
But then they figured out that, oh, wait.
Works to make tent poles, too. Makes tent poles, too.
It's got other properties, like kickstands for bicycles.
Right.
Do you want to know how I learned what Viagra did?
How did you learn what Viagra did?
It's a pretty good story, actually.
Well, that's great.
I can sum it up.
We could
in
use
one
a good
word.
story.
NASCAR.
Oh, yeah. Because they had the Enzyte thing, too.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Mark Martin used to drive the Viagra car.
Oh, that is so funny.
And the joke in the press booth where they, did the narration and stuff, whatever, they would say stuff like, oh, here comes Mark Martin, hard up the middle.
That is too funny.
And I would freaking pee my pants. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Once I figured out what it was.
Yes.
Because we're going back a while.
Yeah.
We're going back quite a while.
We are.
But it was awesome. I would watch the races just for that. Mark Martin became my favorite driver.
Just because of the commentary.
Yes, it was great. It was awesome. That's how I learned what Viagra was.
Well, super glue was originally intended as a surgical alternative to stitches.
Yes.
Which it works. If you ever lacerate yourself and you're really not going to the hospital, you could glue that bad boy right up. The other thing.
Yep, people do it all the time. Actually, it's a common thing in a first aid kit.
Yeah, and but when you go to the hospital and they use a product called Dermabond, and it's purple. Yeah. And it's like $800 for a tube, the size of what you get at Walmart for 98 cents. You get a 5-pack at Walmart for 98 cents. It's the same thing, only has purple dye in it. And then the other thing was metformin, which is used largely as a diabetic, a type 2 diabetic oral medication. They found out, and now they're prescribing it for weight loss because they found out, oh, look, it makes people lose weight. And so now they're using it for that as well. So I have bottles of. I could, at this point, I could probably go down by the curb and make a few bucks with my metformin. Hey, you want to lose a couple of pounds? I got some metformin. I don't know if you can smoke it. I don't know. I mean, you can try if you want.
Black market.
Yeah, black market metformin. I can sell my met off to because it's a relatively clean drug with very very few side effects, and they don't really have a problem prescribing it to people. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to get.
We might be in a gray area right now.
It's not a controlled substance, but I still think that there would be legal ramifications of me standing out by the highway selling that stuff at a stand. He built me a little
culpable deniability.
He told me he was diabetic. I swear to God, couldn't afford insurance. But yeah, like a bottle of 400 of these metformin is like $8. It's not expensive.
Cheap.
It is. It's not expensive.
I think my copay is like 12 cents.
Right. It's so cheap they pay you the copay of like a quarter. Here, go get a piece of gum.
I charge them.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's right. Oh, that is too funny. Yeah, but
well, Chrissy, I'm so glad you called.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love when you call.
Well, I missed chat. I couldn't find the chat, so I gotta let my feelings out, man.
I gotta get it all out there and just.
And
I sit here
really
and I talk to the YouTube, and you're not hearing me, of course. So I'm like, I gotta call.
A buddy of mine one time that smoked a lot of dope, and God bless him. I mean, he was extremely creative because of it, I think. But he smoked a lot of grass, and he said one time, and this is before smart TVs and internet and all that stuff. He said to me one time, he says, "Imagine if the TV could look back at the people. What would it see?" I mean, now it does.
Crazy?
But back then, it's like you see all these people just drooling and staring at you, and and now that's what they watch. I mean, people watch us. They're a Big Brother thing. People put tape on their crap. Well, that's our show for today, Weight Loss Wednesday. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We would like to invite you to come join us again tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock on YouTube and on TuneIn. Have a great day, everybody.
The Podgram, copyright 2018, Big Tower Media. So don't be stealing our stuff.